All right, it looks like attendance is leveling off. Good evening, everyone. I'm Remy Vitela, and I'm part of the Compliance Assistance and Outreach branch at CARB. I work on outreach for heavy-duty and light-duty vehicle programs and incentives, and I also help in planning these evening community meetings. I'm going to be facilitating the meeting tonight with my colleague, Lisa Kalodakis, who's going to be leading the discussion segment today. And before we start, I do want to thank everyone for joining today, and also our team of volunteers who help make these meetings possible. We really appreciate your time and effort, so thank you. For everybody that's new and joining today, thank you for attending. At these meetings, we share updates on CARB's clean transportation incentives, engagement opportunities, and also presentations on topics that the public is interested in learning more about. And I do want to share a quick housekeeping note. This meeting is being recorded and will be available at CARB's meetings and workshops webpage in about 2 weeks. So we're going to drop the link in the chat so that you can access it later if you need to rewatch it or if you want to share with others. Also, starting this month, the team has opted to not post the attendee and affiliations list publicly for these meetings, so we will no longer be posting these on the CARB website. So if everyone's ready, let's get started. Thank you. So these meetings are about community and about sharing information. Our meeting agreements are here to alleviate some challenges, and they're as follows. Please, let's all be respectful. Let's be kind and create a comfortable space for everyone so that we can share our thoughts, our ideas, and our experiences. Also, let's take space and or make space. So if you have a lot to say, that's really good. We encourage participants to ask questions, but we also ask that you be mindful and leave room for others to participate as well. Also, listen to understand. Listen without judgment or jumping to conclusions. And lastly, let's consider equity. We all aim to develop solutions with fairness and equality in mind, and people from all over the state are here to work together, and these diverse perspectives can help us overcome barriers. So with these agreements in mind, let's continue. The purpose of these meetings is to hold space for community members to engage with CARB staff. Our goals for these meetings are to provide a space for community voices and priorities, to brainstorm solutions for clean transportation needs, to highlight important program information, and to also foster ongoing communication between staff and the community. We know that many community members face challenges attending daytime meetings due to work, family responsibilities, and other commitments. And to help keep you informed, we've created these meetings to provide summaries of CARB's daytime clean transportation workshops and work groups. These sessions have been planned specifically for community members, for community-based organizations, and for individuals who may not be able to attend daytime meetings, but they also want to share their concerns, their questions, and suggestions with CARB. If you're attending tonight as a representative of the industry, or if you're part of a governmental organization, we welcome you to listen to these community meetings to gain a better understanding of individual and community perspectives. However, we strongly encourage you to participate in CARB's daytime work groups and workshops, which offer more in-depth technical policy information. Lastly, for the questions and answers sections tonight, we do ask that you help us prioritize feedback and questions from individuals and from community members as this meeting space is created for them. Next slide. So for tonight, we have 4 items on the agenda. First up is Brian Rand. He's part of CalStart, a nonprofit group that's administering some of CARB's programs, including the CalFleet Advisor tool, which he's going to be presenting on next. For our second presentation, we have Karina Cuellar. She's an air pollution specialist in CARB's Compliance and Outreach branch. And she's going to be providing a recap of CARB's December 2nd Drive Forward Heavy Duty Vehicles Workshop. I'm sorry, I apologize. She's presenting a recap on the Clean Fleet Connect Public Work Group recap. For our third discussion tonight, we will recap on CARB's heavy-duty outreach and engagement efforts by Staff Air Pollution Specialist Larry Villera. She's going to be presenting on the recap for various meetings that we have throughout compliance and outreach. And lastly, I'll be doing a quick review of the 2025 Evening Community Meeting Survey, which we released at the January Evening Community Meeting. We've also built in a Q&A session after each presentation and topic, and we encourage community members to engage if you have questions, comments about the program topics that we're discussing. And with that, I will pass it on over to Brian, who's going to introduce himself and go over the Cal Fleet Advisor.
Thanks, Noemi, and thank you to everybody who took the time to come to this evening meeting. My name is Brian Rand, and I'm the Program Manager for Cal Fleet Advisor. So what's Cal Fleet Advisor? We're a technical assistance program for medium and heavy-duty fleets in California that would like to add zero-emission vehicles to their fleet. This includes things like battery electric trucks or vehicles that run on hydrogen fuel cells. Next slide, please. Next slide. Thanks. So Cal Fleet Advisor is run by the clean transportation nonprofit CalSTART on behalf of the California Air Resources Board. CARB wants to help fleets in California with both financial and non-financial resources to help when they're with using zero-emission vehicles. So one of the financial incentive programs that you might be familiar with is the HVIP program. Cal Fleet Advisor is the non-financial side of HVIP. We work with fleets, especially small fleets, fleets using port facilities, and those in disadvantaged communities to help find the right vehicles, find charging, and incentives to help pay for the like HVIP that they need to be successful in adding zero-emission vehicles to their fleet. Yep, thank you. Our mission is to provide no-cost education, technical assistance, and helpful referrals to enable California's medium and heavy-duty fleets of any size to switch to zero-emission vehicles. So to do that, we like to work with fleets individually. We want to provide help to get past challenges you might encounter. We don't provide a template or a standard set of instructions. Instead, we want to listen to what you need and give personalized advice. We work hard to make sure that we give clear answers to your questions, and we take what we've learned in the past to help others in the future. We can help almost any fleet operating larger vehicles in California, everything from cargo vans to big rigs. And no matter if you're just getting started or if you have tens of thousands of vehicles. It's not just private companies either. We can help with cities, transit operators, nonprofit organizations, and more. Although we can help fleets of any size, our resources are especially helpful for small fleets and owner-operators. So what do you get when you work with Cal Fleet Advisor? We're here to help you understand the benefits of moving to zero-emission vehicles, like lower fuel and maintenance costs. We can also help determine which vehicles work best for you, connect you to project partners along the way, and help find the right funding to pay for all of it. It's easy and it's free to get started with Cal Fleet Advisor. Just visit calfleetadvisor.org and fill out the form. We'll be in touch right away and get started to find the right vehicles, charging, and incentives for you. If you don't have a fleet, that's okay. Please tell your neighbors, your family, friends, coworkers, and others in your community who we might be able to help. Any non-car fleet in the state can participate at no cost just by visiting calfleetadvisor.org, or you can call 888-TRY-ZEV. I appreciate all of your attention, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have about Cal Fleet Advisor.
Thank you, Brian. Good evening, everyone. My name is Lisa Kilodikis, and we'll now open the floor for questions and comments about this part of the presentation. Again, please make space to allow folks in the community to talk first and ask a question or make a comment. So if you're on Zoom, you can click the raise hand under the participants tab. If you're on a mobile device, you can tap the raise hand in the more tab. And if you're on a telephone, press *2 to raise your hand. You can also email questions to cleantransportationincentives@arb.ca.gov. Once you raise your hand and you're called on to speak, you just have to let us know your name and your affiliation if you have one and ask your question. So do I see any hands raised? I do not right now, but we'll give it a minute. And it sounds like we don't have any emails right now either. Okay, we have other opportunities for questions. So if something comes to you later, I'm sure Brian might be on here still, and we can get your question if you think of it later, or send us an email. All right, so with that, I will turn it back over now to Karina to talk about Clean Fleet Connect.
Thank you, Lisa. Good evening, everyone. My name is Karina, and I'm an air pollution specialist in the Market Advancement and Fleet Engagement section at CARB, and I'll be presenting on Clean Fleet Connect. Next slide. Thank you. Alrighty, Clean Fleet Connect is a web tool that's still in development. Its purpose is to create a platform that highlights fleets and that adopt zero-emission vehicles to connect them with organizations, including businesses who want to meet their sustainability goals by hiring zero-emission fleets. It will be open to public, private, and for hire on-road, medium, and heavy-duty fleets. Fleet participation will be voluntary, meaning that fleets can sign up and opt out at any point. Next slide, please. Before we go into more details about the tool, I'd like to share in general what the tool would or wouldn't do. As I mentioned earlier, the tool will highlight fleets that are taking action toward adopting zero-emission vehicles. It will increase the visibility of these zero-emission fleets to hiring and procurement entities, and it will support public and private sector organizations in meeting their climate and sustainability goals. The tool will not create any new regulatory requirements, affect compliance, or otherwise be used for regulatory purposes. It does not guarantee additional business or financial benefits, and it does not endorse or recommend any specific business. In general terms, the tool is meant to provide information and visibility, not regulate or certify fleets. Next slide, please. Thank you. Next, we'll go over the concept of Clean Fleet Connect. To sign up, fleets will fill out a survey form and then receive more instructions on what information is needed from them. The goal for this process is to make sign up straightforward while also capturing the information needed to highlight the fleet correctly. Clean Fleet Connect will be hosted on a CARB webpage where users can access a public and easy to navigate list of participating fleets. The page would include regular data updates along with search and filter options to help users find fleets based on their needs. For each participating fleet, the tool would display some key information like the contact person and email, perhaps a company website, of course, the company or agency name, the types of vehicles in the fleet, the vehicle class range, and the percentage of ZEVs within those vehicle classes. And just like to know, in general terms, a vehicle class is a group of vehicles that are alike in size, shape, or what they're used for. Thank you. Now let's walk through what it takes for a fleet to be highlighted on Clean Fleet Connect. To be highlighted, fleets should meet the following thresholds, which are to operate at least one ZEV in California, have at least 5% of the California fleet be zero emission. The number of ZEVs in the California fleet must meet or exceed ZEV milestones, and these milestones will define the target number of ZEVs for a fleet based on the size of the vehicle and the vehicle type. And I'll touch a bit more on this in the next slide. And then finally, the fleet owner will certify and update their information annually. These thresholds will identify fleets that are actively adopting zero-emission vehicles. And we're also thinking through different recognition tier possibilities that will build off of the characteristics. So now I'd like to take another moment to briefly explain the ZEV milestones portion of the characteristics we just went over. So in general, ZEV milestones refers to a ZEV phase and schedule that fleets follow to eventually reach 100% zero emission. The time at which fleets meet certain milestones depends on the milestone group. As you can see on the screen, there are 3 groups. So the chart will show The chart is pairing ZEV adoption milestones with these three groups, and the phasing in begins with lighter vehicle types such as mail delivery vehicles, and as time goes on, heavier vehicle types will need to meet some ZEV adoption milestones to keep being highlighted on the tool. Next slide, please. Thank you. Before I go over content information, I'd like to briefly mention the timeline of the tool. Since last October, we've been gathering feedback on the tool from fleets, hiring entities, and other key stakeholders. We plan to publish the tool in mid 2026 and begin to outreach to fleets to encourage them to sign up. And by mid to late 2026, we want to expand outreach to hiring entities to raise awareness of the tool and the fleets that have chosen to participate in this voluntary initiative. If you have any general questions or feedback regarding Clean Fleet Connect, please feel free to send a message to the ZEV Truckstop email, which is ZEV truckstop@arb.ca.gov, or my email, which is Karina, Karina .cuellar@arb.ca.gov. Thank you.
Thanks, Karina. Okay, so we'll open the floor again for questions and comments about this part of the presentation. So to ask a question or comment, you can use the raise hand in the participants tab on your Zoom desktop. On Zoom mobile, tap raise hand in the more tab, and on the phone, it doesn't look like we have anyone on the phone, but you would do *2. And you can also email clean transportation incentives at arb.ca.gov. Any questions? So it looks like we have a raised hand. Christina, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Kubran, feel free to unmute and ask your question. Was that maybe an accidental hand raise? Okay. Anyone have a question? Oh, here's Christina. I think you can unmute yourself, Christina, and ask your question.
Thank you so much. And I apologize, it was not allowing me to unmute, and you did a fantastic job pronouncing my name. So thank you so much for that. My name is Christina Kubran, 352 Innovation, and I'm a new kind of startup, and my focus is hydrogen combustion engines, kind of my specialty. And I'm hoping that the H2I's conversion, hydrogen combustion engines, that's something that I'm working on personally. I'm working connected with a lot of like KU in Germany. They've been converting engines successfully for 10 years, and they have a lot of data. You know, the H2I's conversion lowers NOx to 10 ppm transient across the board, is what Southwest Research Institute collected with their Class 8 demo tractor. And so I'm hoping to offer a conversion option to help the small fleets that cannot wholesale change out their inventory, you know, for this option. And so my question, I guess, is, and not so much as all my comments, is will, if and when, fingers crossed, CARB blesses off hydrogen combustion engines, since they are considering, you guys are considering it for an alternative technology to meet your greenhouse gas emissions goals, is converting their engines going to be an option? Because that will be a phenomenally far cheaper option to either do an engine swap out or an engine conversion than not wholesale fleet swap out for businesses that have their small fleets. So if you could please consider that, I very much appreciate it. And thank you very much for hearing me out. Thank you for the presentation. And Christina Kubrin, 352 Innovation. Thank you.
Thanks, Christina. I didn't do my job and let you unmute before, so now I know my job is to do that, Mike. But thanks to your comments and questions, we'll make sure the right folks here at CARB hear what you have to say. And I know some folks on the line are happy to hear your comments as well. So appreciate that. Mike, I will now give you permission to unmute. Does that work?
Hi, yes. This is Mike Macias with TCI. We're voluntarily following HCF, and is there some kind of list we can sign up, or do I just email Karina to get updates when you guys are going to do some outreach, or how do I approach that?
Yeah, you can definitely follow up with me regarding getting signed up to our Gov delivery. I know we also come across, I think, at outreach events.
Yeah.
Mike's definitely more than happy to continue the conversation there as well. But yeah, definitely open to scheduling a meeting if you want to learn more about how to keep in touch. But we do have a website and a Gov delivery.
Okay. Yeah, I'll shoot you an email so maybe we can schedule something.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Karina. Okay, no emails coming in yet. Any other questions? Okay, well, thanks, Karina, and thanks, folks, for the questions. So I guess we'll now turn it over to the next topic and presenter, Larry.
Perfect. Great. Thank you, Lisa. Good evening, everybody. My name is Larry Riera. I am staff here at the California Air Resources Board. Next slide, please. Earlier today, CARB held a Drive Forward tribal listening session. There were over 170 tribal members, tribal representatives, and tribal serving entities that registered for the event. Drive Forward is a new initiative reaffirming California's leadership in clean air and climate policy. Drive Forward will advance this work by supporting the development of light, medium, and heavy-duty vehicle regulations, incentive programs, outreach and education, and complementary programs and policies that enable clean vehicle deployment. During the Drive Forward tribal listening session, CARB staff presented on the elements that led to the launch of the initiative. Staff also presented a recap of the 3 public workshops held to date: the Drive Forward Light Duty Vehicle Program, the Drive Forward Heavy Duty Standards and Strategies Program, and incentives. Staff also facilitated a discussion. This was followed by a presentation of the Tule River Transportation Electrification Project by the Native Energy Services Company, a tribal and woman-owned business enterprise. At the end of the listening session, a tribal-only convening occurred to further support California tribal discussions. CARB will continue to engage directly with California tribes on Drive Forward. If you are a tribal member, a tribal representative, or a tribal serving organizations, or would like to learn more about engagement on the Drive Forward initiative, please reach out to me. Next slide. CARB also conducts regional one-stop truck events throughout the year. One-stop truck events provide insight, education, and resources on CARB's clean truck and diesel regulations, compliance, funding, and much, much more. Each regional event provides an opportunity for attendees to listen to presentations, participate in one-on-one meetings, and meet with CARB regulatory experts and incentive program staff, and network with public and private fleets. Next slide. And now we will watch a video on one of these one-stop truck events we had last December in Sacramento. Thank you. Welcome to the December 2025 one-stop truck event in Sacramento.
We provide one-on-one assistance with experts in the field on all the topics we discuss here today that involve the regulations themselves, as well as any funding opportunities and the conversion of vehicles from emissions type vehicles to zero-emission type vehicles.
We performed emissions compliance tests for our Clean Truck Check stakeholders, and we answered a lot of testing questions. A Clean Truck Check emissions compliance test could be one of 2, an onboard diagnostic, which could take about 5 minutes, or 15 to 20 minutes to perform a smoke opacity test and visual inspection. It's pretty easy.
Time for you to come by, talk to CARB staff, learn about our requirements, learn about how to adopt clean technology. We're here to answer your questions.
All over the state of California, we've offered it 4 or 5 times in the 2025 year in a variety of locations.
Hola, aquí estamos en el evento One Stop Truck. Aquí está the California Air Resources Board. Hablamos español y estamos listos para ayudarle a entender todas nuestras regulaciones. Aquí los esperamos.
Estamos proporcionando información acerca de las regulaciones y los reportes requeridos para los dueños de los camiones que quieren estar en cumplimiento. Estamos proporcionando información importante sobre las fechas límites y los requisitos básicos, y así para asegurarnos de que los dueños de los camiones estén al día y al tanto de la información que necesitan para operar vehículos limpios y correctamente en el estado. Esperamos verlos pronto en nuestro próximo evento y visiten nuestro sitio web para las fechas próximas para los eventos que vamos a tener.
For more information, check our website out, where we will be in your community in 2026. Thank you. Great. Thank you, Lisa. I will shift a little bit to our zero emission showcase ride and drive events. Are you interested in switching your business to ZEVs and equipment? Do you want to learn more about what manufacturers have ZEVs already on the market? Are you intrigued by ZEV capabilities and how they can support your business and customer needs? Would you like to see current ZEV models and drive them to determine which ones are the best options for you? Then CARB has an event for you. CARB partners with CalSTART, a national and international clean transportation technology organization with over 280 member organizations, and they host these showcase and ride and drive events with CARB. At these events, you can drive and talk with ZEV manufacturers, ask questions to get answers from CARB and California Energy Commission experts, find out how to get funding for vehicles, infrastructure, and off-road equipment. Talk to experts about how to switch your fleet to zero emissions equipment. Additionally, we have a resource fair. If you're a business in the ZEV supply and value chain, you're more than welcome to set up a table and talk with customers. And most importantly, enjoy a light breakfast and lunch. Last November, CARB hosted the tremendously successful ZEV Showcase and Ride and Drive event in Oakland. In April of this year, CARB will host the next Showcase Ride and Drive event on April 29th in San Diego at Pechanga Arena. If you or your business, your school, your fleet, or your community group are interested in a CARB-led tour of the event, please reach out to me. Thank you. Next slide. Here was some of the contact information for some of the events I had mentioned tonight. Our one-stop truck events, our Drive Forward initiative, our ride and drive events, and tribal and community outreach and engagement. Thank you.
Thanks, Larry. Okay, we're going to open it up now for questions and comments about this part of the presentation. So again, to make a comment or ask a question on Zoom desktop, you click the raise hand under the participants tab. On Zoom mobile, tap raise hand in the more tab, and by phone, press *2 to raise your hand. You can also send us an email at cleantransportationincentives@arb.ca.gov if you'd rather ask a question through that channel. So once your line is open, just please give us your name and affiliation and before you speak and ask your question. So with that, I'll see if anyone has any questions. Okay, well, we have time at the end for more questions if you think of something. So I guess we'll move it on to Noemi. Back to you.
Thank you, Lisa. And thank you to all of the participants for engaging tonight and for your questions. We appreciate you touching base with us during the meetings. For this next presentation, I'm going to do a quick overview of the feedback that we received in the 2025 Evening Community Meeting Survey. This survey we released at the January meeting last month. So I'll briefly go over what we discussed last time, some of the feedback that we received, and I'll open it up so that we can discuss at the end in case anyone has any additional feedback they would like to provide the team. Next slide. So at the last year, we held about 11 total meetings evening community meetings where we provided recaps and meeting summaries for communities about the daytime workshops and work groups for the low carbon transportation incentives programs. At these meetings, we gathered feedback from individuals, from communities as well, to be considered in CARB's changes to programs and policies through open dialogues with communities. We also held discussion times for CARB to answer questions and concerns. Next slide. The anonymous survey that we released consisted of 8 questions about various aspects of the evening community meetings, as well as fill-in questions about what the communities would like to hear more about during these meetings. And so you'll see to the right of your screen, we received a total of 6 responses, and these were mostly from a mix of community members and some government and industry folks. And we know that this is a fairly small pool of responses. It doesn't really represent all of the public that attends these meetings, but it's still worth sharing and taking in because it's very helpful information for the team as we plan the evening meetings for this year. To the left, you also see that we received a 3.3 stars out of 5 as an overall assessment, which again, it doesn't represent the entire evening community meeting attendees, but it does signal to our team that there's room for improvement in these meetings. So this screen shows the overall feedback from each part of the evening community meetings, and the respondents felt that last year we did very well to extremely well communicating clearly during our meeting, encouraging attendee engagement, and also providing thorough answers during our meeting. Respondents also felt somewhat satisfied to very satisfied with the ease of accessing our meeting materials, using the technology during meetings, and also feeling like they were able to participate in the meeting. Lastly, most were satisfied about their awareness of the evening community meetings and their ability to decide which meetings to attend, and also the amount of time that we allocated for public input during our meetings. We also asked we also asked communities for what topics in the CARB clean transportation area they wanted to learn more about in the future, and how the evening community meetings could be improved. Again, we didn't receive a significant number of responses, but this is some of the written feedback that we received on the slide. Someone did share that they wanted to see CARB add more interactive features to the meetings and expand our outreach. And the team is working on encouraging CARB staff to explore more collaboration tools as they develop their presentations. And we're also working on expanding the evening community meeting outreach to broader audiences, which would include university students, professors, local organizations, and advocacy groups. Secondly, someone expressed interest in discussing ways to improve emissions from existing vehicles. And for those of you that are interested, CARB developed the Drive Forward initiative, which will advance this work by supporting the development of light, medium, and heavy-duty vehicle regulations, including incentive and outreach programs and policies. And this will enable clean vehicle expansion. So this effort does build on existing resources to accelerate the advancement of clean emission technologies. And so if you want to learn more about this initiative and these meetings, please visit the CARB Drive Forward webpage. Thirdly, someone also expressed interest in learning more about funding incentives, green technology, and promoting clean energy education. Funding incentives are something we definitely cover at these meetings, more towards the spring and summertime as funding is finalized, and clean energy education is also something we can explore through our outreach. Overall, we believe that we definitely have room to improve, and in the future, we do want to check in more frequently with the communities throughout the year to ensure that we cover topics that communities are more interested in learning about, and also to continue to share the feedback with our Clean Vehicle Program leads. I do want to thank everyone that participated and took the time to fill out our survey. Your feedback is really important to us. And next, I will pass it on over to Lisa. She's going to cover our last live discussion in case anyone wants to provide any additional feedback about the meetings, or if you want to add to any of the previous topics we discussed today.
Thanks, Noemi. Okay, we're going to open it up again. Like Noemi said, if you have questions about the survey or the responses, or if you have other, general questions or comments from any of the material that we covered today. And I just want to remind you, since it's been a while since I've said this, that these meetings are intended for the community members. So let's make space for them first, but we'll try to get to everyone that we can. Again, on Zoom, click the raise hand under the participants tab. On Zoom Mobile, tap raise hand in the More tab, and by phone, press star 2 to raise your hand. And also remember, you can send us an email at cleantransportationincentives@arb.ca.gov. So happy to take some questions or comments. Any emails? I guess we'll hear from the line. No emails. Okay. Yes, we will go on to our next slide and next maybe closing it out. Noemi, back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa. All right, so today went by fairly quickly, which is okay. We had a few presenters today, and we provided concise information. So thank you, everyone that presented, to the volunteers again for your time, and to the communities for your participation. Before we log off, we do want to share some upcoming events that you may be interested in. The next board meeting is on February 26th and 27th. We also have a drive forward light duty workshop that was posted on our slides online. If you go to the presentation we had posted, it said that it was happening later in the month. However, that event has been postponed and we don't have a new date for it. It hasn't been scheduled, but as soon as the details are finalized and the meeting time and date, we will be sharing it with the public as soon as possible. So expect an email if you're on the listserv for that. And in addition to that, we have a one-stop truck event in Manteca, California for heavy-duty vehicles on February 25th. If you're interested in attending this event, we do recommend that you register before the meeting. Our next evening community meeting is on March 17th. Again, we try to hold these every third Tuesday of the month. We try to keep them consistent, but sometimes we do have to change them around a couple days. So if anything changes, we would let you know. In addition to that, CARB is hosting a Clean Transportation Equity Symposium in early May. A government delivery email will be going out once the date and time are confirmed. And again, to register for any of the meetings we just shared, please visit our events webpage. I believe that staff are going to be dropping the links in the chat if you're interested in registering. And next slide, please. We do want to emphasize too that we have an open door policy, especially for those most affected by our incentive projects. So we do encourage communities and individuals to contact us outside of this meeting if you'd like to meet with staff or discuss needs, concerns, or any potential solutions. We also have an online form to request one-on-one meetings regarding clean transportation incentives. And you can always reach us via email to cleantransportationincentives@arb.ca.gov. And another way to stay informed is by signing up for CARB's listserv. The listserv is a way to sign up to receive email notifications on various CARB topics. And I believe staff are dropping the links for all of these emails and Gov delivery systems. Again, we're here to listen and we do our best to help. And I do want to open it up for if there's anybody that has any additional comments or events that they want to share about. I do see Mike Matthias. If you can unmute yourself, go ahead and speak.
I just wanted to ask a question. I'm not sure if I heard something out there, but for the fleet cap at 20, is there any talks or of increasing that or lifting that limit? Currently, I'm working on some South Coast AKMD ones that I could definitely speed up the process if the cap was higher, just because I have a larger amount of units that we're trying to run through the process on that. But just seeing if there's any update on the OEM, or not the OEM, but the fleet cap.
Mike, I'm assuming you're speaking of HVIP.
Yeah, for HVIP, correct.
Yeah, at this point, there are no updates really on that, but we can certainly reflect that comment back to the HVIP team that you're expressing an interest in changing that fleet cap.
Yeah, if there is something, or if there could be a case by case, some just to facilitate some projects a little bit more streamlined.
We can certainly let the HVIP team know and put you in touch with folks if that would be helpful.
Yep, that'll be great. Thank you, Andrea.
All right. Thanks for the question, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Andrea. Does anybody else in the community have any additional comments, questions, or events they'd like to share about? All right. All right. Well, thank you again. This concludes our meeting, and I want to wish everyone a good evening, and hopefully we can see you at the next evening community meeting. Have a good evening.